Hello everyone, welcome back to Agvis Africa. It's Dixon here again with you from AAA Studio. So today we're going to have a look at this building. We're going to render this building. It's a kind of an old building that I did in Ghana, and we're going to basically re-render this in D5 render. We're gonna try and achieve this in D5. So let's dive right into it. So what we're going to do now is just to go to our D5 render button and click on start. And then we're going to click on OK because we don't want to select or reassociate it to any file. So I'm going to open it quickly. And we're using D5 2.0. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. So you can see it's basically sync is in process. So we are ready. We have our model, but you can see here the new updated plugin allows you to sync cameras. So we've got 3 cameras here. So at the moment, what has opened now is the view that we are in. If I go here and I click on sync camera quickly and I go to D5, you see now all of a sudden we have the list here. Okay, so if I click, you can see it will change to that view. Okay, so let's go back to the view that we are interested in. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly just change the field of view to about 55 and something like that. And then I am going to kind of move using the ASD to just move the model a little bit. Okay, but this does not change the field of view. So even if I move closer, it doesn't change the field of view. Okay, which is fine. Okay, great. So I think this view is quite nice. So I'm going to create add the scene, and then yeah, we will just dive right into it. So in terms of we're going to use the geo and sky. In terms of the geo and sky, I'm going to go to the kind of properties here, and then when I'm there, I'm going to input specific kind of longitude and latitude. So I'm going to do minus 1.6 for my latitude and for my longitude, and my latitude at 6.7. So I'm just trying to simulate the kind of lighting that I'll get if this building, as I mentioned, is set in Ghana. Okay, so I'm just doing that. And then I'll basically also play with the knob offset to kind of help us with our shadows and things like that. And these are things that you can change also. Once you start putting in trees and other elements, you can actually work on it to basically craft the scene depending on how you want to see it. Okay, so let's save that quickly. Okay, great. And then I'm going to change this to the orbit because I like using the orbit. The orbit is most of the softwares that I use that navigation, so I'm going to use that. Okay, so quickly we're going to add our materials in there. Let me show you the grass, the new grass, 3D grass. So if I click on the on this object here, which is my grass, and I go to my right panel here under material template, I go to custom and I choose grass. We will get our grass, and we can add basically our map to it. So if you go to map, base color map, we can go and add our grass texture to it. Okay, like that. Okay, Great. But I'm going to undo because I'm not going to use this process. I'm going to go to assets quickly. And then normally what I do is that I create like a ground plane. So I'm going to go to outdoor ground. And then I will just add this dry land to it. I like, I don't know, I just like applying it this way. And then I'll go to model. Then I'll type search grass. And this is quite nice when they've brought in the search button. So I type in grass and enter to search. Now I've got my grass in there, and I'm going to pick this one, this grass type, and I will go to the paint kind of brush. I'll increase the radius, and I'll reduce the size of the grass, and I'll just apply. Okay, so I'm going to just apply that. And then I'll also apply a little bit of this one, just to kind of have a mix in there, just creating my own kind of look and feel of the grass. Okay, I like it. I think the reason why I create that base thing is that when there are patches like that from a distance, it still looks quite real and quite nice. Okay, so you can see that the perspective is not straight. So if you go to F8, then you get your perspective lines to be straight. You can see the difference. Okay, great. Okay, quickly we're going to add some materials. So we're going to kind of close this and go to materials, and then we'll go to wood, and we're going to add some wood materials to our model. So we basically add in some wood material there. See if I can have a little bit darker kind of wood. Okay, so I think that works. Yeah, and then we can also change, if you want, we can change the grain, like the rotation, and so it depends on how you want it to kind of look. And I normally turn on the triple planar as well. So yeah, so I think something like this kind of look real. Okay, so I'm going to press I, material picker, pick that material and copy that material, and basically apply it to this one. Okay, so you can see there, I'm going to change. Let's see if we change the rotation. Yeah, something like that. Okay, and then we've got this support, concrete support there. So I'm just going to go to walls and roofs, and then go to paint. I think they've done well in terms of how they've categorized the materials, but I think there's also still room for improvement in terms of where things are, because I wouldn't call like concrete paint, you know. So, but I guess also it depends. Sorry, so I'm going to just pick that and then just kind of darken it a little bit in terms of the concrete. Okay, great. Okay, so it's coming along, and then let's go to asset again. And I like this texture. You can see once I apply it, white rough. And even if you are using the basic, the community version, you can still use it because it's not a pro. All the pro materials has pro written next to them. So you can see, all these ones are free, which is quite nice. But you can see the ones that is for pro is normally written pro at the corner here. Okay, great. So you can see I'm going to also change the material so that you can see what I mean about that detail. I think it's quite nice. Okay, great stuff. And I am going to apply the same material to this one, but then I would material picker, and then I would change the color, the base color of that, because I want to have almost like an earthy kind of feel to it. So let's go a little bit closer, and let's play a little bit with our color. Yeah, quite nice. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video, so that I can make more of these videos for you. I think it would be nice to see that you are enjoying the tutorials. Okay. And also, I'm looking forward to creating other tutorials with other programs as well, other rendering programs. Yeah, so subscribe and hit the notification button, and it will give you notification when I release new tutorials. Okay, great. So we're going to create our own custom material for this concrete here. So what are we going to do? So I just press I again, material picker, pick that, and then I'll go to base map, and then just click there. And this time around, I'll look for concrete. Okay, and I'll pick the color. And remember, you can always Google free PBR materials, and you can get some nice ones. Okay, so let's go to the normal. Let's change the normal. I really think that D5 render has really successfully make these processes of rendering quite simple and easy. Roughness, let's apply some roughness there. And then we're gonna also apply our ambient inclusion in the, you can see quite nice. If we want to add displacement, we can go to customs and then add displacement. And you see we will have another kind of layer, which is height. Okay, there you go, this height. So we add the height, and then we pick displacement. And then you can see you've got some kind of displacement in there, which you can almost adjust. Okay, I'm going to change the rotation to like 90. So I want to have it this way, and I'm going to kind of increase the scale of it to something like this. Okay. Okay, great stuff. Okay. And so the next thing that we're going to do is to create the material for the ground. So again, the same process for the pavement, the same process. We're gonna go and pick our pavement. Sorry for that. Pick our pavement. Quickly pick our normal. Pick our roughness. Roughness, and then our ambient inclusion, and then again add our displacement to it, which you see is quite evident with this one. So we're gonna add our displacement, and if we go now to there, you can see we can begin to increase or decrease there. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, let's add some glass there. So we go to the material, pick our glass, add. You can always check my previous tutorials of D5 render. This is D5 2.0 that we are kind of using at the moment. Have a look at my previous tutorials, which kind of is a little bit step-by-step tutorials of D5 render. Okay, great. See if we can yeah, I think that's fine. We're not even going to be closer to the tile, so it really doesn't matter that much in terms of the way it's looking at the moment. Okay, just adding it there. Okay, then I'll add some concrete finish to the walls. So I'm going to add this concrete there. Going to you can see the finish quite nice there. Okay, and then in terms of the wood for the framing, for the windows kind of framing, I just want it to be a little bit lighter than these frames that we have here. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, and then even the trusses inside, let's go add some materials to it. Because at the moment it's almost like steel, which will just kind of create some reflection that we don't need in there. Okay, we get in there. Okay, so I'm going to also add some wooden kind of material here. Yeah, sorry. Copy that right there. Let's go back. Okay, great. Okay, so let's also kind of add some concrete. Actually, let's use the one for the wall, for this boundary wall. And we can always change the scale if we think that it's too much, the bumpiness or the scale of it is too much. I think one was not bad. Yeah, but I'm not liking that for that finish, so let's go back to our walls and let's look for a different concrete finish. Yeah, maybe this one will do. Let's see this one with the patterned wood. Okay. Okay, as we wait for it to download, let's go to our model. Let's go to nature. And we're trying to kind of create this as a very kind of tropical look. So I'm going to go to palm, which is also quite a nice way of classifying this library now, which I think is quite nice. Am I having internet issues? Okay, there you go. You've got, yeah, a library there. Okay, so we can start kind of positioning our plants in there. We will try to get close to that image as possible. See some of these that have already been downloaded. Okay, let's increase this to the scale to 1. Okay, great stuff. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And we can also use the draw vegetation, so we can use the path as well, and then we can select what we want to add. So we want to add that one, maybe this one, and then maybe this one as well, and then we can just click starting point and our ending point, and we say done. And once we say done, we can increase the number of items. We can say random offset, so some of them come forward or whatever, depending on what you're looking for. Okay, we can change the direction, random direction, so that some of them, so they all don't look the same, basically. Okay. So let's just add some more trees in there, or some more plants in there. And also, it's also nice to kind of switch on the grid. This is what I mean. If I go to display, I can switch on the grid, so that you kind of have the ratio of what you want to place where, in terms of drawing your viewers' attention to your image. Okay, so could kind of create something like this. And once we place an object, we can scale it also. So if we place this in here, for example, you can scale it, something like that, or you can reduce it, make it bigger. Okay, I'm going to also add like some nice big trees also there. I think this one is quite nice. And always kind of look at what the shadows are doing in your scene. I like, you can see the shadows in the glass, what it's doing. I think it adds to realism, kind of add to how these things look. So you could actually even come back like this, and so that it's casting the shadow but it's not in the scene, you know. You could do something like that also. Okay, let's go back to palms. And let's just add a little bit of some kind of bushes, plants there. You can explore how you want this scene to look like in your own way. Just really enjoy the program. I think that's the key. So I'm just kind of playing around here, having some fun. Okay, and then what we're going to do is to just go and bring in some dead trees or stumps. Okay, so yeah, we're just going to, let's see which ones have already been downloaded. Just bring them in. Yeah, just to kind of add some feel of realism to it. There. And then I'm also going to add like a rock in here, kind of hide it a bit. Add another one here. Then I can also kind of rotate it. So I don't like to place things and it feels like everything is the same. Okay, great. Then we can bring in some animals like we have in our scene. We've got a dog lying here guarding the house, I guess. Something like this. Then we can also kind of let's go back to our camera view. Then here I had placed in like some rabbits here as well. Okay, great. I think it's looking quite decent. Okay, so there. The last thing we're gonna do quickly before we do any post render is that we're going to quickly add some Vegeta Trees at the back. So I'm gonna go there and add some trees. I'll select some big trees. I'll select some of these big trees. Some of these trees. Yeah. And then once they are selected, I just click starting point, end point. Okay. Yeah, starting point, end point. And then I say done. Then when I get in here, I can increase the number of trees, and then I can also increase the size if I want to increase the size. And I like the random rotation as well. Okay, great stuff. It's coming along quite nicely. Let's go back to materials, and then we're gonna go to other. I think that's where we have some roofing materials. I'm just going to pick this shingles. It's not necessary like the detail of it at the moment. It's just to kind of make sure that we don't have the same materials. So I'm going to copy that wood, and just apply it there. Okay, great stuff. Okay, cool. So we've got our render. If we go to effects, we can easily reduce our exposure. So by just switching off the exposure, so that you have control, because at the moment the exposure was automatic. So I just switched that off, and then I am quickly just going to go to render. So I'm not doing any post render here in D5. We're gonna try and do that in what do you call it, in Photoshop. But quickly let's add this bicycle that we have there. So by going to import, then we import the bicycle. This bicycle, I just got it from SketchUp warehouse. Okay, so you can also grab it as well. It's quite nice, quite detailed. And I just position it there quickly, like that. You've got your bicycle there. And I think one other thing that I had in the render was these blinds also, which I also got that from, so that was in 3ds Max, and then I just save it as a, exported it as a D5 file, and just to bring it in. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just position it here. I'll increase the size, so I'll just switch off this chain, so that if I increase this one, it doesn't increase the rest. So I'm just gonna make this 1,000. Then I'll make this 2.4, because I know the height of the window. And then I will press Control D to duplicate that. Control D. Yeah, to duplicate that. So I have a copy of that, and then I'll duplicate it again. So I've got 3 of them, like that. And then I'll press Control to select the 3 of them, and then I'll go to my edit and say group, edit group, or you could have done Control G. So now it's one thing. Okay, so I can apply some kind of materials to it. So I've got that, and then I'm just going to move it back because it sits behind the window. Okay, we can go kind of inside. Let me just increase my field of view so that it becomes easy for me to kind of move around. Okay, so yeah, you want to have it something like this. And so now that I know, because I know that the window sizes are the same, I can just do Control D and then just drag that, Control D again, and then just kind of copy that. Okay, so there we have our blinds in there, looking quite nice. Okay, great. Let's see. Maybe I think it's quite fine. Let's see. So we can just render this quickly by going to image, going to do like a 4K render. So we're gonna go 4K, and I'm going to kind of lock the chain, and I'll make this 4000 because I want to have it like a square. Okay, so then I'll just go render tropical house 3, then I'll save it, the render. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share the video. And also, if you have any questions, any comments, please leave it in the comment section, and I'll find time to respond to them. One thing that I forgot to add in this render was that I have switched on the fog. So fog and volumetric light. So let's just kind of add that to the scene. Before we do our render. Okay, I'm going to update this. And you can always also change the color of the fog as well. You can see, you can play around basically with the color of the fog. Okay, let's render that. Okay, great. Our image is done, our rendering is done. So we're going to open folder, and we've got these channels, the kind of the final image, the render. Then we've got alpha channel, ambient inclusion, channel material ID, reflection, and also trans mask. I'm going to use just these two for now, for this tutorial. So let's do that. Let's go to Photoshop. This is our Photoshop, and we're just going to drag and drop our render in there, and then we will drag and drop the ambient inclusion on top of it. Okay, so now I'm going to go to normal and do multiply, and then I'll reduce the effects of that to maybe about 20%. And you ask yourself why. If I switch off the ambient inclusion, you can see that you actually can't see much that the wooden or the trusses in the space there. Okay, so you can see, let's actually reduce it a little bit because of the of the fog. I'd like to reduce a little bit. Okay, I think this is looking quite nice, and then I'll just save it. I know a lot of people probably have different ways of doing this, but this is what I do. So I'm gonna save that as a JPEG. Then I'll close this one. Then I'll drag and drop the one that we added the ambient inclusion. So now we have this with the ambient inclusion. Then I'll double click on this background to create a layer. So I can call it, let's say, base layer. Say okay, and then I'll press Alt and drag to duplicate. And then I'll go to filter, camera raw filter. And normally when I come here, I try the auto first. So I do auto to see, do I like it? If I don't like it, I go to back to short, and then I can then play around. Okay, but for the purpose of this, we're just gonna go auto. Then we're going to reduce our exposure a little bit there. Reduce our contrast, our highlights a little bit. Increase our shadows a little bit, not too much. And then increase the clarity also a bit, and then go to OK. And then now you can see the difference between the two. Okay, so I'm going to also duplicate again, and this time around I'm going to use this tool, which is called the Nick Collections. So I think when I got it, was free. Nick Collections on Google, Nick Collections, I think. So try and find it, install it, and then you can go to Nick Collections, or you can use this dialog box here. So if I click on the Color Effects Pro, it will open all these filters for me that I can add. I'm gonna go to cross processing, and then I will choose one that I think kind of work with what we are trying to do. Okay, so I choose a C1 and go OK. And we can also kind of reduce how much we want to add. So you can see if it's 100% is there, maybe we can make it like 80%, for example. And then we click Alt and drag again. So now we go back to the same place quickly. And this time around, we're going to add your vignette filters around the corners. So we can do almost something like this. You can also change how you want it to look like. So it's up to you. what you want to do also. Just a little bit. Okay, and the last filter that we're going to add is the blur. So I'm going to drag and copy that again, and again go back to the same thing. And then this time around we're going to go vignette blur, like that. And then we're going to reduce the size of it and say okay. And there we have our image. We can go file, save as, and we can just give it a name and save that. So now we have our final image. So thank you very much one more time again for joining me on ArcVis Africa. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. And let me know if you like this tutorial, if you like to see more of this tutorial. Trying to keep it African, trying to keep it contextual with all some of these images that I'm creating. I hope you enjoy it, and see you again next time. Bye.